The Ballad of Silver Jack. They used to say a man could walk into Goldspur with nothing but dust on his boots and leave with a pocket full of dreams. But dreams are a dangerous thing in a boomtown. They shine too bright, burn too hot, and sometimes they draw wolves out of the shadows. Sam Whitaker learned that the hard way. Sam wasn't a gunslinger or a gambler. He was a dyer, pickaxe, shovel, and a prayer whispered into the ground. He'd come west from Missouri with a sick little girl and a hope that the earth might give them both future. Millie was 12, thin as a fence post and tough as rawhide. She coughed too often and smiled too rarely, but when she did, Sam swore the sun got jealous. They lived in a one-room shack on the edge of town, walls lined with the silver ore Sam had panned from dry riverbeds. Not much, not enough. Still, every sunrise he'd sling his pick over his shoulder and walk out into the hills, talking to the rocks like they might answer. Then, one spring morning, the earth did speak. His pick bit deep into a vein, and the ground glittered back at him, not silver this time, but gold, yellow as the dawn, and heavy as salvation. He stared until his knees gave way. Years of dirt under his fingernails, of hunger and hurt, of Millie's hollow cheeks, all of it was about to change. He named the claim Millie's Hope and rode to the Goldspur office before the sun finished climbing, papers signed, deeds sealed, future secured. But word travels faster than a horse in a boomtown, and by nightfall the vultures were circling. The biggest of them wore a silver waistcoat and a smile that never reached his eyes. Folks called him Silver Jack Dugan, gambler, conman, and king of Goldspur saloons. Jack didn't mind the earth, he mined men. He could take a claim faster with a deck of cards than any outlaw could with a gun. Sam knew the stories. He tried to keep his head low. But the night after registering his claim, as he walked Millie home from the doctor, Jack himself stepped out of the shadows, hat tilted low, and charm thick as molasses. "Evening, Sam," he said. "Word is you struck gold. Word runs ahead of truth in these parts," Sam answered, not slowing. Jack chuckled. "I like a humble man. Makes him easier to talk to. How about a drink?" "Celebrate your good fortune." "I've got nothing to celebrate yet," Sam said, shifting Millie closer. Jack's eyes slid to the girl, then back. "You will. And when you do, remember who offered his hand first." Sam tipped his hat and walked on, but the smile Jack wore followed him all the way home. The next week passed in a rush of hammer and sweat. Sam built a sluice, hauled ore, and dreamed of a real doctor for Millie and a little schoolhouse with her name on the door. But every day Jack's men showed up. They leaned on the fence, asked friendly questions, offered help, and every night Jack's silver waistcoat flashed somewhere near the edge of camp. Then came the invitation, a letter, handwritten and perfumed with whiskey, delivered by a boy with a bow tie too big for his neck, to the man of the hour. "Join us for cards and company at the Gilded Ace. Your fortune deserves a finer hand, Silver Jack." Sam tossed it aside, but Millie picked it up and traced the writing with her finger. "Maybe if you won, Pa, we could buy more medicine." "It's not how folks like us win," he said. "It's how we lose." Still, the thought stuck. He lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling boards. The gold he'd found was still in the ground, and ground was fickle. A man like Jack could ruin a claim with one crooked judge and a handful of false witnesses. But if Sam could win big, really big, maybe he could buy protection before trouble knocked. The next evening, he cleaned his shirt, kissed Millie's forehead, and walked into the Gilded Ace. The saloon was smoke and velvet and lies. Chandeliers dripped crystal. A piano plinked, something sweet and sad. Jack sat at the far table, surrounded by men who looked at him the way wolves look at fire. "Mr. Whitaker," he called, rising like a host welcoming royalty. "Pull up a chair. Luck's been lonely without you." Sam sat. Cards shuffled, chips clicked, whiskey poured. The game began. At first, it was easy. Jack played soft, losing small hands, letting Sam build confidence. Sam won a round, then another. His stack grew. Jack praised his natural talent, and the other players laughed too loud at his jokes. Then the game changed. The stakes doubled. Cards turned colder. Sam's hands began to sweat. A queen where he needed a king. A busted straight. Jack's smile never moved. His pile grew. Sam's shrank. "Double or nothing?" Jack asked it after 2 hours. Voice honey smooth. "Call it the luck of the miner." Sam hesitated. Millie's pale face swam for him. Double. The cards fell. Jack laid down a full house. Sam stared at his worthless pair, the weight of the room crushing his chest. Jack leaned back, folding the cards with a magician's flourish. "Bad luck, friend, but luck changes. Tell you what, sign over Millie's hope as collateral. Now I'll let you try to win it back." Sam's throat tightened. "You're a snake." "Maybe," Jack said, "but even snakes play by the rules. House rules, at least." And so Sam signed. And just like that, Millie's hope was gone. The weeks that followed were darker than any mine shaft. Sam sold tools to buy medicine. He worked odd jobs, breaking horses and cleaning saloons, but it wasn't enough. Millie grew weaker. Her cough addled the walls, and Jack started digging his gold from Sam's ground, laughing with every cart he hauled. One morning, Sam sat on the porch with his head in his hands. Millie came out wrapped in a blanket too big for a small frame. She touched his shoulder. "Pa," she whispered, "it's not the gold that matters, it's you." Sam looked at her and saw the fire still burning in those tired eyes. That's when the shame burned hotter than the grief. Jack had taken his claim, but he hadn't taken his will. And a man with nothing left to lose is a man worth fearing. Sam walked back into Goldspur the next day, not with a shovel, but with a question. "How much gold did Jack report on Millie's hope?" he asked the mining office. The clerk flipped a ledger. "None." Sam frowned. "None? He's been hauling for weeks." The clerk shrugged. "No shipments logged, no tax paid. That's fraud if I ever saw it." A spark lit behind Sam's eyes. "Could I see the claim file?" The clerk hesitated. Against the rules, Sam reached into his pocket and slid over the last coins he owned. The clerk hesitated, then sighed. "You got 5 minutes." Inside the file was a deed, Sam's deed, but with Jack's signature and a notary stamp, dated 2 days before the card game. Impossible, illegal, unless the game had never mattered. Sam left the office with the copy tucked under his coat and a storm building in his chest. That night the Gilded Ace was roaring, poker tables full, whiskey flowing, Jack laughing louder than anyone. He was halfway through a story about honest business when Sam kicked the doors open. The room fell silent. "Silver Jack," Sam called, voice steady. "I'm here to settle accounts." Jack grinned, lazy and amused. "Careful, Whitaker. You sound like a man holding a losing hand." "I was," Sam said, "but then I found a better one." He held up the forged deed. Jack's smile flickered, That's private property. It's evidence, Sam said. You faked the transfer before the game. That's fraud, theft. And the sheriff's been looking for a reason to lock you up, the saloon murmured. Jack's men shifted uneasily. Sam pressed on. You never filed your gold shipments either. Didn't want to pay the crown's tax. That's smuggling. Add it to the list. Jack stood slowly, his hand brushing the butt of his pistol. You got a big mouth for a broke man. And you got a short rope waiting, Jack. For a heartbeat, the world stopped. Then Jack drew. Sam was faster. The colt barked once. Thunder and a dry canyon. Jack's gun clattered to the floor. He staggered back, eyes wide, silver waistcoat blooming dark. You, he rasped. Me, Sam said. The broke man. Jack collapsed into a chair that wasn't there and slid to the floor. The room stayed silent for a long moment. Then the sheriff stepped forward and picked up the forged deed. Looks like we've got work to do, he said. This claim's yours again, Sam. By summer's end, Millie's hope was alive again. Sam hauled gold from the earth with hands that had learned humility and fire. Millie's cough faded with the medicine he could finally afford. The schoolhouse he'd dreamed of arose on the edge of town, and above its door, carved into the wood, were two words, Millie's hope. Sometimes Sam would ride out past the claim at sunset and look toward the distant graves on the hill. One of them bore a simple marker, Jack Dugan. Silver turns to dust. Sam never hated him. Hate was heavy, and Sam had carried enough weight already. Instead, he tipped his hat and rode home to Millie, to the light still burning in her eyes, to the life he'd clawed back from the edge. They still tell the story in Goldspur, over whiskey and poker chips, when the wind howls through the canyons and the nights get long. They call it the Ballad of Silver Jack, the story of a man who tried to cheat the earth and lost to a miner who refused to fold. And they always end it the same way. Greed builds empires, but truth and perseverance tear them down.